Hello class 9th. Hope you all are good. Now today we will continue chapter number 11, that is your digestive system. In previous video we have already discussed about the different parts of alimentary canal and digestive glands. Now today we will discuss about the how the digestion takes place in different parts of the body and functions of liver. Okay, let's start the functions of liver first and then digestion, how the digestion takes place in different parts of the alimentary canal. Okay, now the first function of liver helps in the digestion of food by the secretion of bile juice. Second is it help in regulation of blood sugar. Actually, the food which we eat, it is absorbed after digestion in the form of glucose. This glucose is not required at the same time. Some part of that glucose is converted into glycogen with the help of liver and stored in the liver cells. And whenever our body required that glucose, then this glycogen is reconverted into glucose, and then it come in the blood. Now third function is your deamination, means excess of amino acids are deaminated, means produce ammonia, and this ammonia is then converted into urea, which is finally removed from the body by the kidneys in the form of urine. So liver, okay, it helps in deamination. Now next is your detoxification. Liver convert harmful toxic substances into harmless substances, which are then removed out from the body. Now fifth is your excretion. Liver help in elimination or removal of metabolic waste such as bilirubin and bilirubin. Actually, they are formed when the RBCs are worn out. The worn out RBCs when are destroyed in liver, and the iron part is stored in the liver cell, and rest of the RBCs part is removed in the form of biliverdin and bilirubin through the bile in the feces. Now next is your hemopoiesis. Formation of blood is called hemopoiesis. During development of child, blood is formed in the liver cell. Next is your storage. Livers also help in the storage of iron, copper, calcium, fat soluble vitamins A and D, and water, and many other substances. Liver also help in prevention of blood clotting. Blood does not clot in the blood vessels because of the presence of an anticoagulant that is called heparin, and this heparin is secreted by liver cells. Next is your clotting of liver also help in clotting of blood. Fibrinogen, a protein needed for clotting of blood, is also secreted by the liver cells. Now next is your liver also help in maintaining body temperature constant due to the production of large quantity of heat because of high metabolic activities. And the last function of liver is it also help in destruction of RBCs, and they are destroyed daily in the liver cell. In this way, liver has many functions performed in our body, and we can say that liver is a chemical laboratory of the body. Okay, now let's discuss the digestion in different parts of alimentary canal. And first we will talk about the digestion in buccal cavity. All of you know that food is chewed and chewed with the help of teeth, and then there are three types of salivary glands are there. These secrete saliva, and saliva contain many enzymes which moisten the food and break it down into smaller pieces. It also makes the food soft and smooth. Saliva helps in binding the food particles and making a food bolus that helps in swallowing. And saliva also help in cleaning the mouth and also destroy bacteria to prevent tooth decay, right? And lesser quantity of water in the saliva causes dryness of buccal cavity, and then it gives a feeling of thirst. Saliva contains two enzymes. They are amylase and maltase. Amylase work on starch and convert starch into maltose, and maltase convert this maltose into glucose. Just remember, amylase converts starch into maltose and maltase convert maltose into glucose. Okay, now next is your swallowing and peristalsis. How the process of swallowing and peristalsis takes place. Now, the food is chewed into small pieces by the teeth and mixed with saliva. The tongue rolls the food into a soft mass. Now it is called bolus. During swallowing, the tongue rises to push the bolus towards the pharynx. And now the soft palate moves up to prevent the bolus from entering the nasal cavity. In this way, what's happened? It doesn't enter into the nasal chamber, and the epiglottis also lowers to covers the opening to the larynx, and this prevent the bolus from entering the windpipe or trachea. And now the bolus next enter into esophagus. The wall of esophagus consists of circular muscles and longitudinal muscles. Now when the bolus enters the esophagus, the circular muscles behind it contract, right, and longitudinal muscles relax. Then at the same time, the circular muscles in front of the bolus relax and longitudinal muscles contract. Now these actions push the bolus into the esophagus and then to the stomach. Right now, the alternate contraction and relaxation of the muscles produces a wave-like movement, and it is called peristalsis. Now, then the food enter into stomach, and in stomach by the process of peristalsis. Now, in the stomach, and food is stored there for about 3 hours. In the stomach, the food is mixed with gastric juice secreted by the gastric glands, which are present in the internal lining of the stomach. Gastric juice contain large quantities of mucus, which when mixed with the food liquefies the food. And HCl kills bacteria that may accompany the food. So what is the function of HCl? It kills bacteria that may enter along with the food. Right at the beginning of stomach, it's present a ring-like valve that is called cardiac sphincter, which doesn't allow the food to pass into the esophagus. The same way, at the end of stomach is present another ring-like pyloric sphincter, which also doesn't allow the food to pass into the small intestine. When the food enter into the stomach, both the cardiac and pyloric sphincter they get closed, and the highly muscular wall of stomach undergoes alternate contraction and relaxation, causing the churning of food. And churning of food breaks large particles of food physically into smaller ones, due to which surface area of food increases for the action of enzymes. Now the HCl present in gastric juice not only kill the bacteria, but it also convert inactive enzymes pepsinogen and prorenin present in the gastric juice into their active forms. Means prorenin is converted by HCl into renin and pepsinogen into pepsin. Now renin causes the curdling of milk by converting soluble milk protein casein into insoluble para casein. In this way, the milk stays in the stomach for a longer period for its digestion. An active enzyme pepsin convert the protein content of the food into simpler forms, that is your peptones and proteases. Now this partially digested food in the stomach is called chyme. So what is chyme? Chyme is the thick paste which is formed after churning, mixing of gastric juices and partial digestion of the food in the stomach. Right? Because of the acidic nature of chyme, pyloric sphincter allows the chyme to enter into the small intestine in small amounts at a time. Right now, the food enter into the small intestine. The digestion of food is completed in the small intestine by the action of various enzymes, and the food comes across 3 juices in this part of the gut, and these 3 juices are your bile, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Now this in the duodenum, actually the bile juice, it is comes from where? From the gallbladder, right? Now, what is bile? It is a yellowish green fluid secreted by the liver cells and stored in the gallbladder and poured into duodenum. Now, through the common bile duct, it is alkaline in nature and due to the presence of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate salts. It also contains two pigments, biliverdin and bilirubin. Now, what is the function of this bile juice? It neutralizes the acidity of the enzyme. It prepares alkaline medium for the action of enzymes present in the pancreatic and intestinal juices. Its main function is it emulsifies what? Bile emulsifies the fats, that is, it breaks down larger drops of fat into smaller droplets. It increases surface area for the action of enzymes, and it checks the growth of bacteria and prevents the putrefaction of food. It adds large quantity of water and that makes the digestion easier. Right now, next is your pancreatic juice. Now, pancreatic juice is secreted by the pancreas and poured into duodenum through the hepatopancreatic duct. It is alkaline in nature and it contains the following three types of enzymes. First is your amylopsin, second is your trypsin, and third is your strepsin. Right? These three enzymes help in digestion of the food. Now, amylopsin digests the leftover starch into maltose. Trypsin convert peptones and proteases into small peptides and amino acids, and strepsin convert what? Fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, now third digestive juice is your intestinal juice, which is secreted by the internal lining of small intestine. It contains many enzymes that help in the completion of digestion of food, and these enzymes are erepsin that convert peptides into amino acids, maltase which digests maltose and produces glucose, lactase converts milk sugar, lactose into glucose and galactose, and invertase that split sucrose into glucose and fructose. And last is your lipase, which digests fats into fatty acids and glycerol. In this way, the process of digestion that started in the buccal cavity now completed in the small intestine. All insoluble, indiffusible forms of food are converted into soluble and diffusible forms. And this simple and indivisible food in the small intestine is present in the form of a liquid, and now this form of food is called chyle. So chyle is a liquid form of food present in small intestine. Now digested food is absorbed from small intestine into the blood. Now almost liquid like undigested materials passed into the large intestine, and now it enter into cecum. Now then from cecum it goes to where? Ascending ascending colon, right? And here most of the water is absorbed into the blood through the internal lining of the colon, and then this undigested food enter into in the form of feces, which is a semi-solid, is enter into rectum. From the rectum, they are passed out of the body through the anus by opening the anal sphincter. The process of passing out feces is called egestion, right? And feces means potty. Now that potty is removed. Okay, thank you, children.